Hello, everybody. I am Thirteene, and we've had a pretty good run with Magic, but tonight we're going to be doing a cooking show building Strawberry Shortcake. Nope, just kidding. We're actually running the Legacy deck, Strawberry Shortcake. So, in the fashion of old and powerful decks in Magic, there's usually a common naming structure to follow breakfast foods, but Strawberry Shortcake was so sweet they made it a dessert. So, what is this deck? First and foremost, it's a Painter Servant combo deck, and that's going to cause all kinds of fun shenanigans. Honestly, I'm expecting half the people tuning in to just want to see the colors of all the fantastic cards that we have in our deck. Second of all, that means that we are a white-red toolbox deck in Legacy. So, I'm going to say power level here is probably a 6 out of 10, potentially a 7 out of 10. We have a lot of tools, but this deck is supposed to put together a combo piece using basically the bare minimum resources and trying to make the most of everything that we currently have. So I'm not a master with this deck. I'm probably going to have a couple of punts, but I mean, the squirrel's name is Punt. You should know that by now. So going to try to have some fun with this, but breaking down the deck. So first and foremost, we are Painter Servant combo deck. So what happens is when Painter Servant enters the battlefield, you get to choose a color. All cards that aren't in play, spells, and permanents of the chosen color are the chosen color in addition to their regular colors. So this is fun and unique because it means that first and foremost, we even make lands a color when normally lands are colorless. Painter Servant and Grindstone here are also going to have a color. For the most part, we're always going to call blue. There is going to be a rare circumstance versus Force of Will and other decks that have red as well as Force of Will, where we'll probably call a different color, but that's kind of rare, but we're going to make everything the same color. Then we're going to have a Grindstone, and we're going to use the Grindstone to have target player put the top 2 cards of his or her library into their graveyard. If they share a color, which they will because everything will be blue, we repeat the process until they infinitely mill out. So, way we want to try to make this happen, we have 2 tutor targets for this deck. Imperial Recruiter will go get any creature with power 2 or less and put it into our hand. Enlightened Tutor will allow us to go get an artifact or an enchantment and put it on top of our deck. So both of those can get Painter Servant. The Tutor can get the Grindstone. Then we end up trying to run Aethersworn Canonist here to only allow 1 spell on the stack a turn. We're going to hopefully hit that with our red Elemental Blast or Pyroblast to try to protect our combo. And then we end up getting Smuggler's Copter. We do run a lot of one-of toolbox creatures that are kind of unique, something that the recruiter can go tutor out, as well as Goblin Welder to actually like try to grind some fun stuff out. But basically, we're just going to have a lot of fun of cards. Ooh, I actually need to get some tickets. Give me 1 second while I get that set up. But we're going to have a lot of fun of targets. So, yeah, that's pretty much the deck. We end up getting the Vishano Heretics that we can actually destroy Chalice of the Void. We end up getting just like so many different fun cards. Phyrexian Revoker. We can tutor up Blood Moon. One thing I will actually mention here is we are pseudo budget. So I kind of didn't want to pick up the Soul Lands. They're fairly expensive for MTGO, and we only use them in this deck if we end up wanting to do like turn 1, turn 2 kills. So I have 2 Ancient Tombs. Basically, we do run really low on resources with this deck. So it just didn't feel like we needed it. We're going to be trying to grind out a lot. Experimental Frenzy also felt like a fantastic target for this deck, just because most of our curve is below 3. Basically, our 3 drops even go tutor things, so we can just play off the top of our deck and light and tutor with the Experimental Frenzy. Being able to both tutor it and put a combo piece on top of our deck just felt fantastic. But yeah, Strawberry Shortcake. That's our deck today. Just waiting 1 second for the tickets to come in. But I'm pretty excited about this one. A lot of fun tutor targets, a lot of fun ofs. Painter Servant, like I said, is going to cause a lot of fun colors in our deck. So we're going to see like blue Karns, we're going to see gold Pyroblasts. Like, I'm actually really excited to see what a blue Masterpiece looks like, because despite the fact that these are our images for the deck, I have Masterpieces in the actual list. Like that coming up. Blue is just going to be fantastic. Blue, White, Enlightened Tutor. Just so many fun cards. Well, I do apologize about the delay here. I thought I had enough points to actually queue up for the league. All right. And we are in queue. So probably the most fun card here that's going to get read the most is going to be this Vishanu Heretic. Basically allows us to be a repeatable destroy target artifact. We have multiple 1-drops, so Chalice is actually super bad for our deck. Being able to repeatedly destroy it's just going to be fantastic. Phyrexian Revoker will shut down our Planeswalkers. Alright. So this is probably a mulligan. We only run 19 lands, and this is a lot of lands. We only have one piece of the combo, and we can set up some fun stuff. This is a Goblin Welder, a Smuggler's Copter. I really don't like that I have to pitch the Lotus Petal here, but we only need a Grindstone to go off at this point, and a little bit of mana. That's something we can easily set up, and we actually have an artifact land. So these are slightly awkward to work with, but also tutorable with Enlightened Tutor. We need the mana, so hopefully not playing against Wasteland. Wow, you like never see a plateau, and this is a mirror match. And it's a Chalice on 1. So that's going to be slightly awkward. In the meantime, I'm going to invest fully into this Painter's Servant. Sorry, Smuggler's Copter. I want to be able to attack and start looting stuff away, hopefully try to get into a tutor target or Vishanu Heretic. Alright, well, opponent was hoping... Hey, would you look at that? Alright, Painter's Servant. We're going to call blue, and everything gets to be fun colors. We crew up. Get our beats on. If opponent's missing their land drops, I'm actually fully expecting to get a beatdown kill here. Oh my gosh, there's so many bad cards. Alright. Well, Smuggler's Copter is hopefully going to go the distance, but like, look at that. We got a blue Smuggler's Copter. That's a blue Chalice. And there's a Recruiter. Alright. So, really just want the land here. We need to get down this Heretic. Given the fact that opponent hasn't killed our Smuggler's Copter yet, means that we're actually probably going to stick Heretic first. Elemental Blast isn't the best, but we can get rid of Tutor for now. Chalices are so rough. We do have our One of Heretic in hand, though, so just got to find that land. We should have 3 petals left as well as 17 more lands, so we should have 20 of 49 to draw into. 2 draws a turn. Another Painter's Servant isn't the best, but doesn't hurt to have a redundant one. That is our combo. Alright, so there's a relic that we can't cast, and this is looking like it's a variant of Big Red. So don't care about the graveyard. Just get our mediocre beats on. There actually might be an argument here to run out the second Smuggler's Copter. Alright, so there's a suppression field, so we're going to need a ton of mana at this point. Mountain is fine. So Kroon's going to cost 2, Vishanu Heretic's going to cost 4. I think I'm just attacking for 1 and running out the Heretic. A top deck land is basically where I want to be at in this game. This is also looking like possibly a build of Enchantress. Oh well. If I can blow this up on Chalice, then I have a ton of options here. Trying to figure out what my best tutor target for this Recruiter is. We already have 2 Painter's Servants. A Simian Spirit Guide is just mana. I guess if it comes to it, I can just Recruiter for the mana to blow up the heretic. Because Suppression Field is going to require activated abilities to cost 2 more. Smuggler's Copter Crew would cost 2. Lame. Alright, so I don't exactly have a way to blow up that Chalice now. Which means I'm on super awkward beats. Opponent's actually only 2 turns away from dying here, so I'm going to run out another Painter's Servant, call blue again. Crew up using the Lotus Petal, which just feels awful. Try to draw into a land, get rid of this Reb that's not doing anything in my hand. Alright, well, Canonist feels like it's going to help our opponent more than hurt them at this point. This Ancient Tomb is now offline, though. Is this another Fiery Confluence? It is. Oh, there goes all my mana. Oh well. This Canonist should be pretty lethal pretty quickly. White. So, assuming I can find a land, Smuggler's Copter is probably coming out next turn, followed by the Recruiter. Recruiter can go get just about anything here. They're going to 1 with a War Boss. Alright. Painter's Servant is a way to crew the Smuggler's Copter, is also just lethal. I didn't think that we'd be getting in with lethal 1 damage Painter's Servant. But if opponent literally has nothing else going on, we might get there. Everything is blue again. Dabba dee dabba die. Alright, so Chrome Box means that 3 drops are back online for them. Oh, the lands have been an issue. Fiery Confluence blowing up multiple mana sources was quite bad, though. Free block. Alright, so I can swing in, we'll just bounce off of each other. I can run out Smuggler's Copter here and threaten lethal in the air. They'll need to find another mana source and have a 3rd Fiery Confluence in order to blow it up. A Braid's probably on the table, but a Braid's still going to kill the Canonist, which is the exact same situation I was in last turn. So I think I'm just on Copter and block. I'm likely just going to eat the token, or if they swing in with the War Boss, it means they have a follow-up. Yeah, they put Blood Moon under the Chrome Mox, makes sense. We're basically a red deck. Alright, well that's colorless now. They do have 4 mana, though. Alright, there's a Rabble Master. So they should just be dead on the backswing, unless they happen to have Lightning Bolt. This Suppression Field was actually super awkward this game. Alright, well, just go for lethal. Backup plan is Imperial Recruiter next turn, although I think that's going to be like my last turn to do anything. Yep, alright. Cool beans. So another Heretic comes in. This is our Hoser versus Chalice of the Void. It's also going to get rid of a lot of their mana sources. The damage part isn't very relevant, but I can tutor for it with Imperial Recruiter and then just start blowing up all of their artifacts. Pyroclasm is quite good versus the Goblin strategy. It looks like they're on that. Tormod's Crypt and Relic are in here for basically Sneak and Show. It allows you to exile all the Emrakuls after you get your combo running. Red Elemental Blast is cute, but we have to have a Painter Servant for it to matter. They should have some Chandras and some ways to do a little bit of targeted removal, but more than likely our Painter Servants will be able to stick around. Circle of Protection red is just hilarious here. So I can paint everything red and prevent damage for 1 mana at that point. If they have Suppression Field, again, it gets slightly awkward, but just some options. They're also a red deck, like just negating Rabble Master and blocking the token every turn seems fairly cute. Blood Moon does nothing, so that can come out. Canonist doesn't really do a whole lot. If I can get it super early, it can kind of prevent the Lotus Petal into... I guess it's Lotus Petal, so not really. Yeah, that doesn't do anything. I was going to say it could stop an early Blood Moon, but that doesn't do much, and I don't care about early Blood Moon. This is looking fairly stock. The Ensnaring Bridge isn't really that appealing, but unless I were bringing in Karn or Experimental Frenzy, which I don't think that that's this type of matchup, or probably just somebody it back. We just need to make sure that they don't get a Chalice to stick, because we were able to do janky beatdowns last game, but that's not the name of our deck. We have Pyroclasms for the tokens, a bunch of dorky little creatures. We can tutor up part of our combo, which seems fine. The Caracas is kind of awkward, but we are technically a Blood Moon deck, and we do have a little bit of white. This is conditionally good against Reanimator and Sneak and Show. Interested to see what opponents got, though. If it's like a turn 1 Rabble Master, this Pyroclasm's looking fantastic. There's Chrome Mox. If it's another Chrome Mox, I'm going to love this Revoker. Alright, well, 1 War Boss down. Spyglass? Chalice. Never didn't have it. Alright, well, there's the Grindstone. We were actually super close to our combo there. In the meantime, run this guy out, ship it back. So, does this Enlightened Tutor actually set me up with anything I care about? That's interesting. That's a good way to get rid of a bunch of extra land drops, as well as ramp out your big stuff. It's also quite hard for me to deal with, but we have a Caracas because we're just smart like that. Alright, well, this Enlightened Tutor, what is it actually pointed at? So I can get a Ensnaring Bridge, a Lotus Petal. I don't think any of those are very good. Painter's Servant is cute, but they already have the Chalice out. Yeah, I don't actually want to draw the additional land. We cap out at 3 mana, so I'm just going to go Tutor here. Marginal upside to do it during my upkeep, but whatever. In the meantime, this comes down. So it's whenever he deals combat damage to a player. Whatever. Bouncy bounce. Ship it back to opponent. Can't make any 1-drops with Chalice out. So I do have the combo. Just Chalice. So rough. This Revoker can shut off the Chrome Mox, but they're already at 4 mana, so that's probably not relevant. Paying life to run out. Nahib. Oh, there's a Crater Maker. Ooh, what does that mean for me? I think it means I'm just on Imperial Recruiter, go get the Vishkano. I'm expecting Blood Moon, but I don't think I have any considerations for that. We're barely splashing white in our deck. Go grab our Artifact Destroyer. And hopefully Pyroclasm will come through. I would probably love Fiery Confluence right now. I mean, just blow up all their artifacts. That'd be nice. See, I get a look at this Crater Maker. Alright, so opponent must not have much going on if that's what they're planning on doing. Ooh, Smuggler's Copter's cute. So I can run him out. Fiery Confluence will pretty much clear the board. I really want to bounce this. I don't want to take any damage from it. If I bounce this, stop the Chrome Mox, they'll at least be taking another 1 damage off that. I think I'm okay with letting them sack the Critter Maker to get rid of the Smuggler's Copter. This is really good for us, and it's fantastic filtering to get rid of our singletons of things that don't matter. But for now, I'm willing to make the trade of Critter Maker for the Copter. And as long as they're paying 2 life to run him back out for my Caracas, like, I love that position. They're not doing anything I care about if that's the plan. Plus, I have so many artifacts I care about. Alright, opponent, what you got over there in Big Red? Suppression Field would be annoying. Scab Clan. Okay, so what does this mean? They have mana up to blow up the Smuggler's Copter, so this is going to make contact. I think I'm on Bounce Nahib, Chump block the Scab Clan, and Pyroclasm next turn. Alright, first things first, Bouncy Bounce. I don't like him. He's threatening. And this is the biggest upside here, is not letting this get renowned and get out of Rage of Pyroclasm. Arid Mesa is a perfectly fine draw, so they're going to have to be on whatever it's called, Fiery Confluence, to kill my Heretic again. I'm just going to get my planes, like just in case there is a Blood Moon. Then that means Pyroclasm. Yep, pay 2 life, blow up my Copter. All calculated risks. Those guys are gone. I get to run out my Canonist. Just a bear. At this point, just a bear. Next turn, get to run out Heretic. Start blowing up the Chalice. Actually start working towards my combo kill. Or potentially just Revoker and shut off 2 of their mana sources. What are they pitching here? Naheb? He doesn't do much good with Caracas out. Did you give up on him, opponent? Yes, you did. That's an interesting include. I don't know how I feel about it. Oh, okay, that hurts. So, I don't believe I have a way to kill that now. But opponent's also kind of slow over there. So, I get to set up Painter Servant for Xing Revoker. Revoker probably naming Chrome Mox. Potentially Chandra. I'm guessing they have to have a Chandra somewhere in their list. Well, first things first. Beats for 2. I want to try to shut off their mana here. If they cast Chandra and take 2 damage, I'm kind of okay with that. So for now, name Chrome Mox. This basically became a 4 for 1. And Painter Servant. It's not doing much as is, but why not? Make everything pretty in blue. Blue Masterpiece doesn't actually look that blue. Like, you can kind of see the borders there. Yeah, okay. Well, that was actually a pretty easy one. I'm going to call that Big Red, but they clearly had some white in there. They were trying some Enchantress lock pieces, but... Yay for Strawberry Shortcake! So our 2 drops that actually might have mattered there would have just been Smuggler's Copter or anything we already had in hand. Yeah, that's slightly awkward. Maybe if I'm expecting to play against a Chalice deck, I should consider bringing in a 4-drop threat, just like a card or something. I am not a master of Painter, but who could say that this isn't beautiful? Painter's Servant makes Pyroblast an automatic, like, it turns into Strip Mine, it turns into counter target spell, it turns into destroy target creature. Like, it's basically just Vindicate. 1 mana Vindicate with a Painter's Servant out. Vindicate or counterspell. Just fantastic. And then Grindstone is just a combo kill. Alright, well, we got our next match. I'd love to play first. Alright, so this is a Smuggler's Copter, nothing to crew it up with. I can cantrip the Relic. I don't think this is good enough to keep. We only need 1 Grindstone, and we have 2. We don't have enough mana to actually activate it. Yeah. Smuggler's Copter fixes a lot of issues, but it's not a perfect solution. This is plenty of mana. Opponent kept their 7. Enlightened Tutor can get us our other combo piece. So I'm hoping that we're playing against a blue deck, or I'm probably going to instep Enlightened Tutor for a Painter, just so I can actually turn these into Vindicate counterspells. But like, if this is a Delver, Pyroblast is just fine. Alright, looks like it is Big Red again. Hey G-Burn, glad you figured out your login credentials. By the way, this big bad Baptista is super bitter. What is going on here? Alright, so I need to get my red source. Enlightened Tutor. I'm going to go get Painter because... Actually, what am I going to get? Ensnaring Bridge feels kind of live. Smuggler's Copter will allow me to start looting into things. I don't have a creature for Smuggler's Copter. I think I'm on Painter. Oh, I don't like that. Yeah, like, Chalice is our worst matchup, and of course we play it twice in a row. We did successfully shut out our opponent last game, though. Alright, well, Painter comes down. I see a red deck and I want to paint it blue. Lotus Petal can come down before they Chalice on 0, and I'm holding up 2 amazing cards that are counterable. No fun. If I could just Pyroblast this and then Reb this, I'd be very happy. Snow covered in basic. Alright, well, I can get a Vishanu off the top or Recruiter. Oh. Yeah, I actually don't want to attack there. There's no reason to expose my Painter for 1 damage. It's just not going to happen. And, of course, they are Eldrazi. So, red Eldrazi, probably Obligators in the list. This is probably a Thought Knot. Yep, blue Thought Knot. One of the cute interactions. Oh, wow, I have a lot of tabs open. One of the cute interactions for this is my Painter shuts off Eye of Ugin fantastically. So this reduces the cost of colorless Eldrazi by 2, and you can search for a colorless creature card, but everything in their deck is currently blue, so that actually doesn't work anymore. Lava Man doesn't do anything. Well, I have all the mana. So I need Recruiter Vishanu, and I'm currently on a 5-turn clock. Probably bigger. Or shorter. Where the phrasing is to die faster. Wow, a Rabble Master, huh? Okay. Ooh, okay, so that's part 1. I can Imperial Recruiter here, go get the Vishanu. I can run it out next turn. Man, I need 1 more mana. Alright, well, tapping this Ancient Tomb is going to significantly reduce my clock. But this is my line. This is where we're at. Like I said, this deck runs off of like the bare minimum resources, so I have to go get my Heretic. Yeah, Walking Ballista doesn't do anything here. Next turn I get to run it out. Then I get to blow it up, Pyroblast anything I care about, and try to draw into a Grindstone. Recruiter also gets the privilege of chump blocking for 4 damage. Okay, so eat that, dude. Chump block. Why with the chalice? Oh, fantastic. Alright. Well, that's the game. Punishing Fire out of the red Eldrazi deck. I don't know what's going on there. Alright, Pyroclasm doesn't do anything. Circle of Protection red can be cute to prevent the damage of a Thought-Knot Seer and the like. I don't think that's where I want to be at, though. Blood Moon is fantastic in this matchup. I actually probably should have just gone... Actually, no, they're red. They're not just regular Eldrazi. They were running Mountains. This isn't nearly as good as I was hoping it would be. Oh boy, I don't like any of this. Like, our Grim Lavamancer's bad, even as a tutorable target. I guess this can kill a Rabblemaster, so maybe just leave one in as a tutor target. Need the other Heretic. Karn can create some somewhat large tokens, or chump block tokens, as well as get card advantage, so I'm going to be leaning at putting this in. Walking Bliss is also kind of bad. Then probably just cut a Revoker. I can't imagine they're running any Planeswalkers. If they are, it's likely new Karn. But they're not 12 posts, so they shouldn't have the mana for it. Alright, this is a Painter's Servant with a Pyroblast, a Vishanu, a tutor for another Vishanu. Yep, this is everything I signed up for. And of course we don't have a 1-drop versus the Chalice deck on the play. So if they don't get a turn 1 Chalice, I think our best draw here is a Simian Spirit Guide or a Lotus Petal, because in that way I can run out Painter Servant, turn everything blue, and then Pyroblast it on the way down. Relic's a card. Alright, well, everything's blue. Opponent kept 7, so hopefully it's not another Chalice on 1, because that's not cool. If I have to fight through that all night, it's going to be a sad night for Strawberry Shortcake. Lame. A lot of the lists I was looking at were a little outdated. Sorcerer's Spyglass makes me think I should have put some number of Abrades on the side. But like here, I can't Heretic to blow up the Spyglass, so that means I'm going to be on Recruiter for probably a Welder and try to get an artifact in their graveyard at some point. Phyrexian Revoker also seems cute. Yeah. Or, you know, just be awesome and pull a Grindstone off the top. Please and thank you. Oh, I can Pyroblast that. What am I thinking? I'm bad at this game. Alright, so a land. Please and thank you. Welder's technically a thing. So I can Welder and Relic. I can Welder to put the Painter's Servant back in. I can just run out of Painter's Servant here and get ready to Pyroblast Spyglass, but I think this is more dangerous on the battlefield than in my hand. Yeah, I think I'm just on Welder and Relic. If I want to, I can... So, sorry, I should probably explain this card. Welder allows you to exchange an artifact in play and in the graveyard for a player, as long as they're both legal targets when this goes to resolve. It's pretty similar to Gilded Drake for anybody who plays a lot of EDH. So, basically, with this Relic out, I can tap the Welder and switch these two and put the Painter back into play. So if I don't make my land drop here, that means that I can weld into Painter's Servant and then blow up the Sorcerer's Spyglass. Or the Ancient Tomb. If my opponent misses a land drop, it's probably going to be the Ancient Tomb. I have multiple Pyroblasts to draw into and Rebs. Yep. Alright, well, if my opponent wants to play the slow Grove game, I'm on board with that. Ooh, Copter. What does Copter actually mean? I really need to hit my land drop. So I can Copter here, follow it up with the Painter's Servant next turn. This Relic can also eat the Punishing Fire if I bait it out with the correct card. I don't want to have to pop this with my Painter's Servant in the graveyard, just because that is a good combo piece. So Smuggler's Copter gives me the best shot of looting next turn. Luckily, like, much of my deck is 1/3s, so Punishing Fire is not that great by itself. Alright, and opponent has all the mana, so we might be seeing an Endbringer here. Crater Maker. Why is everybody rocking the Crater Maker today? Alright, so Heretic's probably my best play because they're going to have another removal spell for a 1/3. It'll also force them to blow up the Smuggler's Copter this turn. Or they might be getting rid of the Relic if they want to keep the Grove of the Burn Willows engine going. And honestly, if they don't let me loot, I'm happy. My hand is stacked. Yep. And I can't eat the Punishing Fire if they even put it in there anyway, but it's always correct not to give them the option. I really want the Punishing Fire, but again, if I've said it before, if they ever have a reason that they prefer to keep the Crater Maker in the graveyard over the Punishing Fire, you don't want to give them that option. Especially when you're playing against a deck that seems to be green-red monsters. Yeah, I don't know what opponent's doing here. Ooh, Plateau's fun. So Plateau lets me Painter's Servant. When the time comes, I can blow up the Spyglass and start activating Heretic. And I don't want to expose this by attacking. I have no idea what opponent's doing over there, but I know there is at least one flash creature in Zendikar, so I believe it was blue, but... Oh, it was Vile Redeemer. It was green. So yeah, I don't want to attack into that. And of course, Rocky found a squeaky toy. He always seems to whenever I'm streaming. This means I get to pop the Relic, eat the Punishing Fire. And then if they have anything else going on, I get a Pyroblast, the Sorcerer's Spyglass. They have another Punishing Fire? Really? Am I supposed to counter or blow up the Spyglass here, chat? I feel like I'm supposed to blow up the Spyglass since I'm so far ahead. I can always recruit her for another Welder or Servant. I even have the Grindstone. Yeah, I have to blow up the Spyglass here. That's going to turn my Heretic back on. I also get a Grindstone and Recruiter, and then if I draw a mana source, I have lethal on the next turn. Yeah, so I said it before, but this deck is sweet. There's a reason they call it Strawberry Shortcake instead of, I don't even know, a cereal that's red and white. I think Fruity Pebbles is already a deck anyway, but that's way more colors than red and white. Imperial Recruiter for Painter, get Grindstone out. Huh. That's an odd choice from opponent. They must have forgot they had a city out. Oh, and there's the Wooded Foothills I needed. It feels most correct to leave up my Caracas here. I'm going to go grab me another Painter. Just grab a basic mountain, get out the Grindstone. Then when Painter hits the field, if they try anything to remove it, they should have a Punishing Fire able to go to hand. But we're going to have the combo kill here, so I'll A-okay with that. I can't imagine opponent has a big Eldrazi that shuffles back into the deck, but I suppose it's a possibility. If they do, we popped our Relic on it, so we're not going to be able to win that way. Seeing as they are a Punishing Fire deck, that means Tormod's Crypts are coming in if we get a Game 3. Really? Are you running Fiery Confluence too? What the F? Now they get a Punishing Fire the Heretic? Wow. The shenanigans are so real. Oh, I probably misplayed there. Opponent showed me a Thought-Knot Seer, and I had the Painter Servant in hand. Alright, well they have one card in hand, and I'm not exactly sure what it is, but Heretic gets to come back out, and I'm live to multiple draws here. That was actually a pretty good draw. Unless they freaking Fiery Confluence me again, then I'll be super sad. Why do they have Reb? Alright, so Heretic attacking for one's not going to do a ton. They are at 12, and I don't know what they have in hand. These Ancient Tombs are really hurting them. I actually am going to attack. This is likely a mistake, but and then opponent has 45 cards left in their deck. I'm running out this Grindstone because of Thought-Knot Seer. This in the graveyard is allowing me to at least weld it back. But I can't mill them because if I mill the other Punishing Fires, they can just pick all of them up with the Groves and actually get a real clock going. Honestly can't believe that they had Fiery Confluence and Reb. Alright, so if we do make it to sideboard, a couple of different things are changing. Tormod's Crypts are coming in, Pyroblast and Reb is coming out. I'm going to paint their deck red and bring in Circle of Protection red. Yeah, now they're getting enough mana to actually blow up the Heretic. I mean, honestly, if you name Grindstone, I don't think it's going to matter. Unless we top deck a Painter. Or I guess a Recruiter. Yeah, you probably have to name Grindstone here. Arid Mesa. Alright, well, we don't have a Dryad Arbor or anything along those lines to go get, but I will be thinning the deck. Also, I have no freaking clue what's going on over there, so it's probably just going to be a basic Plains. I also don't have a great way to kill that. Again, marginally better to do it during upkeep, but I don't have a stop set and it doesn't feel worthwhile. Okay, there's another Arid Mesa. So we have 19 lands in our deck. We currently have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out. That's going to be 10 out. Yeah, that feels like terrible odds there, but whatever. So we have 1 fetch land, 2 fetch lands, 3 fetch lands, 2 tombs, and 3 fetchables. Imperial Recruiter is quite good in this situation. So they're just going to Punishing Fire it, but whatever. We're going to get some card advantage out of this. Go get another Recruiter, chain together Recruiters. As long as the Grindstone is under a Spyglass and I can't blow it up, there's not really much of a point to get a Painter's Servant. It might just help opponent more at this point with all the Pyroblasts and Rebs that they brought in. We can get an Ensnaring Bridge and lock the opponent out of the game at some point. We can get Welder and actually get the combo back going. So opponent does have another Spyglass in the graveyard, but they can just, it's as it enters. I don't like that. It should be a trigger, at least allow me to interact with it. I think here's just another Recruiter, though. Just try to thin out the deck. If they have another Thought-Knot Seer, they have another Thought-Knot Seer. It's also going to give me a couple of chump blockers, or at least force them to Punishing Fire my guys. Did I take out the Walking Ballista? I could probably just kill them with a Walking Ballista at this point. I did. Rip's also probably a consideration to come in, but Tormod's Crypt you can at least weld back. Welder dying to Punishing Fire feels bad. Oh, the goal here is to get more cards out of our deck, and it feels like we're doing that by pulling out all the Recruiters. Smuggler's Copter is also kind of interesting. Alright, so we can Simian Spirit Guide, we can Welder. Grim Lavamancer is actually a threat, so they're going to have to kill it. I also really like Welder. So Welder can turn my Grindstone into a Painter's Servant. They're just going to kill it. Painter's Servant can at least chump block. No, Painter's Servant will survive the first Punishing Fire, which will allow me to crew my Copter. So I'm going to paint everything red just in case what they have in hand are Rebs. And look at that. The red Painter's Servant actually looks pretty legit. The red Smuggler's Copter actually feels like the color the deck the card should have been. Yep, and opponent doesn't have enough mana this turn to double Grove or to double Punishing Fire, which means if they do decide to try to kill my Painter's Servant next turn, I'll at least be able to crew the Smuggler's Copter in response to the second Punishing Fire. I don't know why the red Painter's Servant looks so natural. Like that's what it feels like it should look like. Just with the Masterpiece border. Well, that's unfortunate. Why do they have Dead Gone in their list still? Alright. So, crew up, and that actually might make it so that they can't attack this turn. I've lost track of how many Punishing Fires they actually have. I'm pretty sure it's just the one. But if they have Punishing Fire and I double block, they'll just Punishing Fire the Recruiter and kill my Copter. I won't be able to loot. Well, opponent's definitely doing something with colorless. Yep, pick up the Punishing Fire. Makes sense. Wait, what happened with Crater Maker? Oh, they cast the Crater Maker with the red. Okay, so then they're going to blow up the copter there. That makes sense. I'm following along. Yep. Alright, well, at least Imperial Recruiter's going to block 4 damage. Oh, they don't even attack. And we did have another land to draw into. Of course we did. Alright. Well, our outs are looking kind of limited, but I can't imagine an opponent wins it from here. We just have so many things we can draw into that are actually going to be able to do something. I guess we are on a 6-turn clock, but... Well, there's our Reb that's not going to do anything. Also not going to have a legal target in case we draw a ensnaring bridge. Slow death by Thought Not Seer in the Grove of the Burn Willows. So I really should have brought in Blood Moon. Blood Moon would have kept these groves down, would have kept the Eldrazi Temple down, the Ancient Tomb down. Oh well. Opponent's at 3. Like, honestly, if we just had a bolt, it'd be over. Definitely should have kept the Walking Ballista. The Walking Ballista would have been lethal. Good target for the Recruiter. Chalice on 1. I think right now our out is Ensnaring Bridge, so that doesn't matter. Canonist is just going to die to a Grove of the Burnwells, but that's preventing 1 from going to our face. In fact, is even going to gain us a life. If opponent can kill us, they can kill us, but we do have a live top deck. Alright. Show me what you got, deck. Another Grindstone. Alright, well that's the game. Chalice is super bad, and we played against it twice. Don't really have a comment to that. I did misanalyze what our opponent was playing, so that hurt a lot, but I've never seen a deck that was just Grove of the Burnwells and Thought Not Seer. That thing's going to get stomped on by any actual combo deck in Modern. Legacy. Sorry, I've been playing a lot of Modern lately. Sneak and Show's just going to wreck that. Storm's going to kill it on turn 3. Possibly turn 2. But it did work to our little dessert tray here. Yeah, Phyrexian Revoker can't even name Grove of the Burn Willows. So much artifact hate. Yeah, the Blood Moon was probably pretty decent, and we did get some chip damage in. Like, if we had actually been able to attack with a Smuggler's Copter, that would have been lethal. If we would have been able to tutor up the Walking Ballista. I mean, Walking Ballista wouldn't do much to the Rabble Master or the Thought Knots here. It looked like they trimmed their Rabble Masters. But, I mean, it could have definitely reached over opponent. This deck's not supposed to do minor chip damage. Like, the Smuggler's Copter is a game plan, but you're more or less trying to tutor into your combo or answer pieces. I do think not having another answer to an artifact other than the Heretic is probably a mistake. Sorcerer's Spyglass and Pithing Needle are both cards that shut that down, as well as allowing them to protect their Chalice. And Big Red has become kind of a represented archetype in Legacy. That also might have been a matchup where having our Soul Lands would have been better if we could have just let off on a Grindstone and gone to a Painter's Servant and just comboed them out on the spot before they had the opportunity to start Thought Knotting us or getting their grinding plan going. Probably would have been significantly stronger. Either way, the deck's sweet. It's a toolbox deck, and it doesn't even run like Court of Calling or Green Sun Zenith. Like, those kind of just don't exist. Recruiters do open up a whole new world in Legacy. Let's see, I'm pretty sure I can still pull this up. Yeah, so we get access to Recruiter of the Guard for toughness 2 or less, and the Red Recruiter for power 2 or less. This one sees a lot of play in taxes because it has the opportunity to go get Stoneforge Mystic and the like, and also get Flicker Wisp and Mother of Runes. The Imperial Recruiter has basically been in Painter decks. The other thing to take a note of this deck was this was kind of tier 2 when Sensei's Divining Top was not banned. I'm sure anybody following my stuff is aware that I missed this card and I'm sad it's gone. But we had the ability to tap the Sensei's Divining Top, welder it with something in the graveyard, then draw a card, and because Sensei's Divining Top wasn't around, you couldn't put it on top of your deck anymore. It also allowed you to stack the top of your deck, considering that you didn't have blue cantrips to kind of set stuff up. You could at least look at the top of the deck and see if you had stuff coming. Oh boy, this is a turn 2 kill on the draw. So, don't be another Chalice deck, please and thank you, Mr. Zookeeper. I'm assuming this is coming from Futurama. If it is, I miss Futurama. Alright, so opponent showed us a Polluted Delta. That can mean any number of things, but most importantly to me, that means it could potentially be days. So I'm actually going to run out the Ancient Tomb and Phyrexian Revoker. I'm going to slow roll this just a little bit, just because we have the combo doesn't mean we need to commit for it. Non-land. Crap, I punted. Yeah. I thought that was Sorcerer Spyglass and I could name the land. So, what do we want here? We probably are... It could be Jace the Mind Sculptor. I'm actually going to go with Lion's Eye Diamond. I think we can grind against control, but we won't beat Storm. Yeah, I need to be more familiar with the cards I'm playing with. Island, Preordain. So this is actually likely Sneak and Show. Could still be Storm. But Preordain's, I typically say it more in Sneak and Show. Plus Basic Island means that it's normally Miracles or Sneak and Show for the most part. This is... I'm just going to go all out here. We have the fast hand and I'm going to try to push it. I did misplay here, but this means that I can Painter Servant into Grindstone. Going to paint it blue. So this does give them pitches to Force of Will at this point. But whatever. We kill them next turn if they don't have removal. Or if they don't just kill us with an Emrakul here. It's possible that they drop a Lotus Petal, Sneak Attack, Emrakul, Sacker Board. Oh, there's the Abrade. Alright. So, slow death it is. I'm not paying life at this point to activate Grindstone. It just doesn't feel worthwhile. Wait, why are you running main deck Abrade? I'm so confused now. Main deck Abrade seems so... Spell Pierce? Okay, well, I have 6 mana. I don't want my opponent to have the card advantage. I'm going to hit Narset here. I still think that the mill plan is going to be most likely for us. I have no intent on drawing multiple cards, so she can stick around. Alright, so it's looking like a blue-red control-y list. Potentially Jeskai. Days Undoing. So I'm not going to... I'm just going to put these lands back in my deck. Yeah, it's fine. They're going to end the turn, and I don't have my upkeep stop, so I'm just going to go get my lands. And if for whatever reason they're running Blood Moon, oh, I should have used the Arid Mesa to get a Plains. Well, that was my bad. Alright, Days Undoing and Legacy. That don't seem right. They also drew us a Welder. And they're also likely going to Days Undoing again, so I'm just going to empty my hand here. Oh, wait. Turn off auto yields. Lame. Alright, so that's probably the end. So I could have milled myself there, found a Painter Servant, and then killed them if I top deck a land. Or a Lotus Petal. Well, I guess I'm still technically live to a Painter Servant off the top, so I guess I shouldn't pack it up yet. Although I should have gotten a basic. This is a weird blue-red prison list. Alright, so I'm going to want static abilities coming in off the board. Alright, let's try this. Opponent has 5 cards in hand. This likely isn't going to happen. I also don't want to give them blue pitches, so I'm going to name, whatever, paint it black. Oh, that's a sexy Narset. That looks like Ashiok. I like it. Alright, I don't want to give them the opportunity to see 3 new cards. If they have interaction and they kill my painter here, we're just going to move along with our lives. Yep. Alright. Well, opponent Days Undoing, so they had it all. Blood Moon's not going to do anything. I want all of my grindy cards. Probably need to leave the Heretic in. Definitely leaving the Welder and the Grim Lava Man in. I need to keep the Pyroblast. Yeah, these have been awful matchups. Like, the deck that was running main board of Braids, really? That's not a thing. Rest in Peace is probably a consideration. Once their stuff hits Exile, it's gone forever, so they can't just Days Undoing and draw them back. I don't know. Maybe we are just going to paint everything blue and just, like, blast it to an eternity. I don't think there's sneak attack. Alright, so Walking Ballista can also kill Narset if it doesn't get forced. Simian Spirit Guide is Lotus Petal number 5, so it's sticking around. And Snaring Bridge feels awful here. Blood Moon feels bad if they're running back to basics. We also saw both of our Ancient Tombs that game, and so many lands. Revoker seems fine, although naming Narset means that she's going to stick around and we won't be able to draw cards for their Days Undoing combo. Relic feels acceptable. Grindstone's still a combo piece. Canonist is cute. Canonist also allows us to control the stack, so there's only one card on it at a time, so our Rebs and Pyroblast get better. I guess that's probably Chandra down. Maybe just the Phyrexian Revoker, since naming Narset doesn't do anything. I'm sure they have another Planeswalker in their list somewhere. I actually am willing to bet they have a Dak Faden, so I probably need to keep the Revoker into name Dak. Boy, I don't like any of this. Maybe Lava Man can come out. Maybe that's too cute if they're trying to shuffle our graveyard in. And probably just Welder if they're trying to keep our graveyard in check. Alright, well, let's see how this goes. We can get a basic off of this. We can start off with Copter, get the Heretic or the Canonist out. We have Reb for interaction. Yeah, we could have done so much of that back to basics. We just had kind of an awkward draw there. Alright, so basic Mountain's fine. I'm going to start off on Smuggler's Copter, just because it is going to be the strongest thing out there. Opponent's also shown a Spell Pierce, so I'd rather them burn it on the Smuggler's Copter if possible. Ooh, and that's a Painter Servant. Alright, first things first, Running out the Canonist. Opponent's trying to figure out how much they value this. And this is why this deck kind of works. Force of Will is running pretty rampant around this place. Really? But we get a 2-for-1 out of it. Alright, well, Canonist biting isn't that bad. The Heretic is moderately cute for this deck. Ooh, there's a Grindstone. They only have 4 cards left. What are the odds that we can just kill them if we run out the Painter Servant this turn? Alright, we're going to run out the Heretic and then the Grindstone. I may have actually... Like, really? Why do you have so many Abrades? Oh, well, that's one Abrade not pointed at the Grindstone or the Painter Servant. So, I'm getting at planes, just that I'm actually covering my basics. Grindstone can come down and potentially just kill them if I get a Mana Source next turn. Alright, so... one more turn. Ooh, I can reb that. I don't think I want to reb that. Ugh, I would love to run out Painter Servant when I have protection for it, but opponent only has 2 cards in hand. And if they're running out the back to basics here, it means that they probably don't have a ton going on. I'm just going to see if this sticks and see if we can get the combo to go off. I'm going to paint everything blue. And that's probably going to bite me in the butt, but I'm going to paint everything blue. Alright, they're fishing for answers. Come on, Strawberry Shortcake! I have faith in you. That's an Narset. So they're probably looking for reb here of their own to kill the Painter Servant. They found an Abrade, which they can't cast. Alright. Oh, thank you, land. I don't have protection while I do this. Oh, opponent, you're not going to let show it off? I guess they don't want us to see their deck. But it worked. So, because I haven't let this happen yet, Painter Servant colors everything blue. All cards are blue regardless of where they're at. Grindstone mills 2. If they share a color, it repeats the process. Since everything's blue, I mill their deck here. We got one. That's a victory point. The deck did what it was supposed to. So, does this change anything? I still kind of want the Chandra, but... Opponent was just like actively and aggressively countering things that didn't matter. Hopefully they're just aggressive again and we have a good hand. What does this actually do? So I can Welder on 1, I can Entutor on 1, Enlighten Tutor on 1. If I Enlighten Tutor, I can go get Phyrexian Revoker, Painter Servant, Blood Moon, Experimental Frenzy. I think I can do better than all that. Yeah, if a deck does what it's supposed to once, it's good enough for Squirrel Dealer. Alright, so hopefully this is scry into a land and have the combo. Hopefully scry into a soul land. Simian Spirit Guide will let me Painter on 1. No, I need a real land. Alright, that's technically a real land. So, first things first, let's Grindstone. Probably getting Spell Pierced, but I'm going to Welder next turn and be able to Welder it. Yep, that's fine. Again, opponent's just aggressively countering things. So their deck is built on the idea of having multiple resources and like renewing those resources, and our deck is built on the concept that we want to work with our limited resources to get something to work. So they are favored here. But we got our mill off. We got our mill on. All right. So opponent brainstormed and then intentionally fetched after they drew one of the cards back, so they must have a pretty good hand here. All right, what'd you get? All right, Imperial Recruiter. I don't believe that actually does anything. So I can Goblin Welder, swing in. If they have to cash out their Narset, they cash out their Narset. I'm actually believing opponents trying to Daze Undoing here. That's why they kind of didn't care about their hand. So I'm going to hit Narset, and I'm going to run out Painter Servant. Because Painter Servant means that I can... Oh, I'd need another artifact. Oh well. So there's a trick that you can do with this deck where you activate Grindstone. I think I'm going to paint the deck black because they have shown us Force of Will. They have red, which means they have Rebs in their sideboard. And I don't really have anything to activate on this. Alright, so they just must have another Narset. Okay, they pick up a Force of Will. Sorry, what I was saying though, you can activate Grindstone, and with the trigger on the stack, you can actually weld the Grindstone for their Painter Servant, and then Painter Servant enters in place of the Grindstone. You paint the deck a color, and then Grindstone fully mills them. So exactly like that. I'm running out Grindstone 100% here, because now if I draw a land, I can kill them next turn. Alright. Well, keeping their hand empty is how we're going to get ahead here. I'd still love a land to go get a Recruiter. 2 Grindstones in the yard is quite bad. Daze Undoing will shuffle them back in, but still quite bad. Why, hello there, Narset. Harvest Pyre. Okay. And another Recruiter. Oh. Yeah, I'm not attacking. I'm walking Ballista for 1 because that puts me back on the... If I get a... Really? Opponent, what the heck are you doing over there? They have a Saheeli? Oh, they're fishing for Daze Undoing. That makes a little bit more sense. All right. So opponent has shown us a Lightning Bolt. So they can Lightning Bolt anything I put out. I can Lotus Petal, go get a Recruiter. If I had an opportunity to get a Welder, then I could sack the Lotus Petal for the Grindstone. Or the Painter Servant, honestly. Recruiter for Painter Servant doesn't really do a whole lot without anything else in my hand. I think I'm going to run out the Lotus Petal just because if they Daze Undoing, everything's going away anyway. And I'm going to run out Canonist to eat the Bolt. Then if I don't draw a land next turn, I can Recruiter for probably... I don't even know at that point. Probably just a Servant. Being down 2 combo pieces against a deck that can just like blow resources just to blow resources is a little hard. Land? V-click? Alright. Honestly, my hand doesn't do much, opponent. I guess this is just a free take, though, with Narset out. So probably taking a Recruiter, best card in there. Really? The Recruiter? So... Relic comes down. I have just a little bit of time here. I don't want to get rid of my Grindstones, and a Welder is actually alive for me at the moment. So I'm going to start slowly eating the opponent's graveyard. If I get the opportunity to Recruiter next turn, that means that I can get one of my combo pieces. So opponent has one Narset over there. Another Lotus Petal. All right. Yeah, Harvest Spire doesn't do a ton. Opponent's going to counter this for sure. Ooh, or not. So this means I get to go get a Painter Servant. I can also get a Revoker, but naming Narset literally does nothing. Canonist is at least castable without eating my Lotus Petal. Yeah, I just need to get a Painter. I need to try to get my combo going as fast as possible. I think opponent's stumbling a slight bit. Yeah, they're trying to get rid of lands out of their deck. I don't like the fact that two of my Grindstones are gone already. Otherwise, I probably would have cycled this relic by now. Players have no maximum hand size. At the beginning of each, draws a card and then discards a card. Okay, that's quite nasty. So this V-Click has to stay on defense. If I draw during their turn, I get the draw. So I think I have to cycle Relic here. Either that or I get one more draw step to recycle this Heretic and draw into a Grindstone. I can Painter Servant and Grindstone, assuming that they have no counter magic. Yep. All right, paint everything blue. And because it's their combo on the table, going to make them trade off the V-Click to protect Narset. Really? Seriously? You have so many Abrades for no reason at all. Alright, I have to cycle this, otherwise I'm just on draw discard. Last card was a snap for a Brainstorm. Alright. Well, they get to pick one of three. Not the most effective Brainstorm, but they do have a fetch land, so it's not the worst. Alright, another land at least lets me get out my Heretic. So I can blow up the Bogarden. So I need to set an upkeep stop. If they don't kill my Heretic, I at least get rid of this, and I'm back to drawing a card a turn. Okay. So opponent's holding a Force with no pitch. Wait, where'd that come from? Alright, well, I officially can't draw another card. So they get that one. Alright, currently 1 and 2, but we did get our official mill out, so I'm already happy with the deck. Strawberry Shortcake is so sweet, though. Toolbox, all the fun stuff. It doesn't have the number of cantripping and inevitability that I personally prefer in a competitive deck, but sometimes you can't put a price on sweetness. Like, this is just... It's been fun. Painting cards. The fact that we have to go red makes it a little hard. I'd prefer if we could do something with... I don't know, even Hydroblast feels like it might be a little bit better just because it gives you the opportunity to not set your opponent up for force pitches and turn it on opponent's rebs, but if you don't have Painter, Red Elemental Blast and Pyroblast actually are kind of okay. So this is a weird taxes hand. That's not good enough. We're here to combo, folks. And that's no lands. So if I could scry a Soul Land to the top, I would probably keep this, but likely go into 5. And this is acceptable. So it's going to be a turn 2 Blood Moon with a Lavamancer. Alright, well, counter magic really shuts our plan off. Oh, never mind. It's Dredge. Or Reanimator. Reanimator. So, opponent is going to bring in Grizzle Daddy. Soul Land? Heretic. Alright, Heretic doesn't actually do a ton here. We're going to look like a really weird burn list at the moment. Get out Lava Man. And then, assuming opponent isn't squatting on a Force of Will or a Daze, we'll be able to Blood Moon next turn and hopefully lock them out of the game. This should be blue-black. Okay, so they'll be able to reanimate, but they won't be able to show and tell. Oh, there's the reanimate. So I want a Ensnaring Bridge, and for them to not draw into Force of Will and pitches. Seems unlikely. Walking Bliss is slightly cute. Yeah, we're not coming back from this. I'd rather have them think we're Burn. So, Tormod's Crypt comes in. Rest in Peace comes in. Containment Priest comes in. Pyromancer comes out. Heretic probably needs to stick around. No, they have Careful Study and everything, so that should be alright. Blood Moon can come back in just because they wouldn't expect it from us. Revoker on Grizzle Daddy's cute, but not fantastic. Pyroblast is still alive. Goblin Welder can actually... No, they won't be able to stop anything that they're doing, but... It's still our grinding attrition plan. We need to keep one as a tutor target, but we can trim one here. Aethersworn Canonist will only stop Dark Ritual, and we probably won't be out by then. I think that's putting me on probably just the Smuggler's Copter. We're not going to win by beating down. We might occasionally get a couple of chip hits in that make Grizzlebrand less effective, but yeah. Reanimator's a strong deck. Hopefully we see our toolbox pieces. That's going to be the takeaway here. Alright, and opponent's trying to figure out what they're doing. Update the match record. Currently down 1 versus Reanimator. I'd love to play first. Hey, look at that, a Tormod's Crypt. This is immediately playable. Welder's also going to allow us to get back our Tormod's Crypt. So it's going to be hard for opponent to deal, but hopefully we'll get there. It's possible they force this and then just get a turn 1 reanimate. Looks like that's not the case. They look like such a janky EDH deck. I love it. Alright, I do want to draw another land exactly like that. So, I can Imperial Recruiter here, go get Painter Servant. I can just run out Grindstone. I think I'm on double Grindstone. Seeing Welder should tell opponent what we're doing, and I need a sack target for this Tormod's Crypt, so I'm on double Grindstone. Gonna take it just a little bit slower and hold up our interaction. Do the best job that we can to slow them down. They're significantly faster than us. And since Welder is our recursible threat here, we need to be able to leave him back. The combo, if you're not seeing it, is Tormod's Crypt will sack it to exile our opponent's graveyard when they go to reanimate. When they do reanimate, then we just pop this, it goes to the graveyard. We use Welder to exchange control with the Grindstone and the Tormod's Crypt. And then we get Tormod's Crypt back. Alright, well that's not a soul land, but that's fine. Really don't want to draw another land here. This means that we get to go get our Painter Servant, and then we have lethal for next turn, while holding up 2 layers of interaction. So this is going to be Painter Servant. And then if they do happen to show and tell us, that means that we get Painter Servant out, or if they find a way to discard us, since I believe that this list runs on Mask. I know the red-black version does. I think the blue-black version does. If they discard our Painter Servant, Wilder will just bring it back in and we can kill them on the spot. Alright. Ooh, Rip's a fun one. Alright, Mr. Recruiter, go chip in for one. See if they want to interact with that. I highly doubt it, but let's see. I'm expecting opponent to have a counterspell here for our Painter Servant, which is why I was kind of slow rolling it. And I mistapped. I should have used the Ancient Tomb so I could rip if this doesn't resolve. Although, oh, okay, never mind. They saw it coming. G-Burn, that's another one for the Bucks. Successfully milled. Yay, we did it twice. Yeah, I don't think anything else changes. I actually might want this Red Elemental Blast for counter magic, since they actually do know what we're doing this time, and that's probably just another Canonist out. We'll leave one in as a tutor target. A little surprised that opponent didn't make us actually mill them. We did have the Tormod's Crypt to get rid of the Emrakul's when the trigger went on the stack, but they're supposed to make us actually do it. Because it's possible that we just miss and let them shuffle back in and then they get another turn. But then again, I'm also like brand new with this deck and I know that interaction, so I assume most people would be. Alright, so this is going to be Enlightened Tutor for my red land. Turn 2 Rip while holding up Reb and Pyroblast on the draw. Yeah, that's fine. I have all of my 2-mana hate spells to actually make this happen. Alright, and they're starting off strong. If this is just a careful study into reanimate, there's not much you can do. There's a reason a lot of these decks play Force of Will, and it's because you have to be able to interact with these degenerate decks on turn 1, and I have some fantastic cards for that, but it's not until turn 2. Alright, so they had their slow rolls here. They had Tidespout Tyrant and Elish Norn. Alright, so this means I'm never coming back. Actually, yes, I can, because I'll just Pyroblast it. Yay, good cards! So whenever you cast a spell, return target permanent to its owner's hand. I'm actually going to lead on the Lotus Petal here, because I'm still probably going to go get my Artifact land, and if opponent has a spell in response to this, then they're going to try to bounce my land. So rub that. See if they have counter magic. If they do, I get a Pyroblast without the trigger. Oh, that's just beautiful. I'm having a nerdgasm over here. That was just fantastic. Yep, opponent's pondering to set it back up. There might be an argument to Pyroblast that since they clearly don't have something to go off or they're just looking for another land, but usually you don't want to target the cantrips. You want to hit the things that actually matter. Alright, and then I need to make sure I hit my land drop here, so I'm going to go get my Plateau. Oh, are you going to stifle me? Okay. Oh, that was going to get really bad really fast. Yeah, opponent doesn't have like anything going on, so we have a minute here. So I'm going to Plateau, then I'm going to Enlighten Tutor, see if they want to counter this. Looks like they don't. Then, again, Toolbox. I get to go get our Artifact land, which is not banned in Legacy. Untap, draw a land for turn. Then I believe I'm slamming Rip. I could also Containment Priest, but I think opponent's showing that they're light on action here, so I'm just going to clear the graveyard. If they show and tell us next turn, I'm going to feel super bad, but I didn't have anything in there I cared about. And I just took off one of their attack axes, as well as got rid of their Tidespout Tyrant and Elish Norn, both of which are fantastic against our deck. Alright, so they're likely taking our Containment Priest. It's also possible they take the Recruiter. But Containment Priest is probably actually going to beat them down at this point, as well as stop their strategy. All right, well, so Painter allows us to reb that and then grindstone them out of the game. Yep. All right. So we got a game here. Opponent's got one card in hand. I'd love a land for this recruiter. Lotus Petal technically does the job. Now the question is, do I get something that could potentially kill them here? Or do I just grab my Painter because it's the best card I can get in this situation? Lava Man doesn't do anything. Walking Ballista is not going to be able to get plussed. Welder doesn't do anything. I don't have another land to chain together the recruiters. The Revoker can name... Well, they're not on sneak attack. Yep, I think it's just Painter. And then Painter will make it so I can counter their Reanimate spell as well with this Pyroblast, so... Yay, Strawberry Shortcake! Land? Alright, Canonist isn't awful. If I'm going to run out the Painter Servant, I want to be able to hold up Pyroblast to protect it. So I'm just going to try to get this guy out there. It's also making me go to a 2-turn clock attacking. So opponent's going to have to deal with their board state before they can even try to win the game. If they do happen to just like hard slam a beefy body, I can just Painter Servant and then Pyroblast it after the fact. Blood Moon's cute. They have their basics, though. I'm waiting on the Painter Servant, just because they do have to clear our board, and then this is just lovely. Also, I'd rather, like, if they're going to try to do something blue here, I can just Pyroblast it, call it a day. Yay, and we took another one with Janky Beats. All right, well, bare minimum, I'm going to be king of my 2-3 bracket once again. We beat, I know that has an actual name. It's like Show Reanimator or something like that. So this deck is technically like tier 3, tier 4 at the moment. It was actually probably around the same level of meta, like you'd see it about as often as you're probably seeing like Valakut in Modern. Like, it's out there. You see it probably at least once every couple of leagues or once every couple of FNMs. It was a viable deck, but the Sensei's Divining Top getting banned ended up really hurting the deck. 3 wins means that you could easily buy this deck, which is fairly budget. Like, I am showing $480 in paper, which for Legacy is actually like super budget. And at least have fun at your FNM. 2 matches, like, says that you can play the deck. It's probably not great, but 3 wins means you could at least have a good opportunity to win a couple of matches with it. Alright, so this is a little bit of a slower hand. It does allow me to Enlighten Tutor, go get whatever combo piece I need, so I'm probably going to slow roll the Enlighten Tutor. Phyrexian Revoker and Canonist will both slow them down, and between these two, I actually can get both my Painter Servant and the Grindstone, so I can hang on to this. If I top deck a Soul Land, this is turn 2 Blood Moon. Alright, and this means it's probably Mono Black Reanimator or Turbo Depths. Oh, I was so close to a turn 1 Blood Moon. Yeah, I don't really need to speed anything out here. I don't technically have a good hate piece. Like, I could Enlighten Tutor for... I guess I'll see what they're doing. Because odds are this could also just be Storm and they have their 1 basic. Okay, 2 Swamps means that this is basically Mono Black Reanimator. Hymn to Turok is going to hurt. So I think I'm just good to let that happen. Land and Blood Moon. That's fine. I do want to draw a land, so I'm not fetching. Lotus Petal means I can just Imperial Recruiter here. I don't think that's good enough for anything. So I'm probably... This is so hard. What can I go get? I can go get the Heretic. I can get... He gets Simeon Spirit Guide, which sounds really stupid, but that's going to make it so I can at least Canonist or Evoker next turn. Um, I actually think that with these Lotus Petals, I'm going to run one out in case there's another Hymn to Turok in my future. And then I'm going to Enlightened Tutor for Relic of Progenitus because I'm expecting Grave Titan or just a Mass Reanimate thing coming. Alright, so that's a Last Hope, which turns off a lot of what I'm doing there, but won't kill any of my actual combo pieces. Why did you have to get discarded? I could have tutored for you. Alright, so Imperial Recruiter's just going to die to Liliana. Painter Servant's not going to do anything. I really, really, really need a land. Alright, well, if I get Wastelanded, then we're moving on. We'll go to game 2. But I need to get white since I have like all of my white cards in my hand. They're just one land off of Grave Titan. Yeah, okay. Whatever. We're good. So, Sinkhole, Smallpox is just mono black control. I'm less inclined on Rest in Peace. If they're Smallpox, that means that they're probably not Reanimator. Experimental Frenzy and Karn as card advantage seem great if I can actually get up to 4 mana. Blood Moon is awful. Bridge is awful. I'm probably going to get Mana Screwed if anything happens. If this shuts down Grave Titan, I'm probably supposed to keep it in. But more than likely the zombies will at least be able to attack. Containment Priest is mildly cute. It's not really going to do anything. Grim Lavamancer dies to Liliana. Goblin Welder dies to Liliana, but they're decent tutor targets. The Elemental Blast to remove permanents, specifically lands, post-Painter, are going to be pretty good. I kept that expecting not to have a ton of lands, and we played against the deck running 4 Sinkholes and 4 Smallpoxes, so that's on me, but we have a light land count. Yeah, this is looking like how we're going to run it. The Revoker can probably come out as well, but I don't know what I'd bring in. Maybe it's just a Revoker for the Ensnaring Bridge. Actually, Revoker can actually name Liliana after Liliana's already hit the table, so that's probably fine. But they should have Liliana the Vel as well. Okay, this is fine. So this is going to be a turn 2 Painter Servant with Rev up, and then probably just fast roll a Karn into an Experimental Frenzy. I like these cards. We're probably going to get discarded, though, so that is one thing to note here. Fetch land is to hedge out against Dark Ritual into Sinkhole or Smallpox. I guess this still hits Smallpox, but whatever. Alright, opponent's got an Urborg and is tanking, so I assume they had to have had discard there. Now, is there an argument for me to actually reb their land? They didn't have a 1-drop this turn. I also don't want to get wastelanded, so sure. Painter Servant. I don't know, chat. Do I sinkhole their land? It feels like I'm supposed to sinkhole their land here. Either that or I'm countering the Smallpox that comes up, which would actually save their land. Yeah. Let's blow it. Oh no, I need to protect it because I want to actually Experimental Frenzy or Karn next turn. So the pedal will actually protect my Painter. Top deck a land, please. And don't make me blow the pedal. Ooh, Dark Ritual. Something big. Please and thank you. Come on, Cabal Ritual. I know you want to. Cabal Ritual, Grave Titan. They're going to double him me. All right. Well, this is trading 2 cards for 2, but it at least protects the couple of threats in my hand. If this is a smallpox here, I'm going to hate life. Yep. All right, get rid of the heretic, get my painter, get my mountain, and this is probably game. That's painful. I love how they dark ritual into that, and it's still like perfectly acceptable. That's painful. Yep, so another spirit comes back. They're pretty much going to have a 2-2 for the rest of the game. They did have the wasteland. Yeah, alright, so opponent had the nuts. Whatever. That is another example of why this deck, when it's trying to work on limited resources, we play against a resource denial deck, and it just doesn't come out great. But Strawberry Shortcake, Strawberry Shortcake, delicious. It is a fun, sweet deck. So for Legacy, this is actually, again, as I was saying earlier, pretty budget. It's got a lot of fun cards in it. So most of the value of this deck is actually in the plateaus. Let me actually see if I can pull up the deck list here. Because I think right now our API is setting 0 for the cost of plateau. All right, so Caracas is 17, Ancient Tomb is 22, Arid Mesa is $42. So basically the way that I'm looking at this is basically 40, 80, 100. 100 of the dollars are the lands, and plateaus are coming up 0. You could technically run Sacred Foundries here. As you saw, most of the games that we ended up winning or losing weren't based on around 2 life. We're either going to mill out our opponent, we're going to put them behind on resources and then beat them to death, or we're just going to win. The Ensnaring Bridge is also fairly expensive, but it is one of our necessary tutor targets. Actually, Enlightened Tutor should be pulling up a price here. I believe that this is somewhere in the ballpark of like $8 in paper. I didn't spell that right. So I guess we actually do need to add that to the price of the deck. But overall, like, there's not a lot here. The single Walking Ballista, again, is a tutor target. So if we do actually look at the deck list over here, we can see that it's super long. I actually have to remove the chat to see everything because we have a ton of one-ofs. All the one-ofs are specific tutor targets that help in situations. There are a couple of other things that you can sub into the deck. Like, I was running some real jank in here. Like, I have a Circle of Protection red because we can paint their deck red and prevent all that damage. But it's a ton of fun. Experimental Frenzy felt like it'd be pretty sweet in this deck. You probably do need to have the City of Traders and Ancient Tombs in here. It really lends itself to the most explosive starts of the deck, which is a Soul Land into the Painter, wherever it is. I'm blind. Painter Servant. So this is your turn 1 play. Your turn 2 play is another Soul Land, and you drop down Grindstone and just mill them out on the spot. If they have no interaction, it's a turn 2 kill. But fetch lands do actually, they're kind of serviceable, especially if a lot of the lists I was looking at were anywhere between 2 to 4 of these in the 75. They fill your graveyard, they let you target things, they get rid of things that are annoying like Thalia's. I did really like the idea of Experimental Frenzy, but the 4 mana was just so hard to pull off. But either way, like, this deck is a ton of fun. It's really sweet. Like, Strawberry Shortcake. I also love the borders that they put on MTGO. I guess you don't get that in paper, but whatever. Love this deck. Thanks for watching, and have a good one, everybody.